Hello friends, Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I want to speak with you a little bit about the pre-filtering of a SunSun. And in my case, I've been pre-filtering two SunSun 302 canisters. These are the older, smaller 302 canisters produced by SunSun. Not even sure if they still even make them, but they've been running on the tank behind here for probably 4 years now. Running strong, running quiet, never an issue. And so I've been very happy with them, and I decided to put pre-filters on them. These were some sponges that were on a Zoomed sweeping power head, and I put those out of commission, and then decided to take the sponges that came with those, and I put them onto the intakes of the 302. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to crack open one of the 302 canisters and show you what it looks like after close to 4 months, almost 5 months of running with the pre-filters on the intakes. And because of the results I've been getting, I'm probably going to end up modifying these intake filters and getting a nice coarse intake that actually fits and completely covers the intake, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So thank you so much for tuning in, and before we get going, a quick shout out to all of you in the convo gang. The convo gang. And I'm giving you a shout out because the discussions that have been going on underneath the videos have been very, very good, very informative, very polite, and I really enjoyed reading them. And I thank all of you that participate in those conversations. Be sure to click on that bell, the bell that you see down below, and become part of the Convo gang. Participate in the discussions. We all learn from each other. That's becoming the new the new motto for my channel. Besides, you rock, which of course is true. You do rock. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about pre-filtering a SunSun canister. So according to my notes that I maintain on my phone, as you can see here, this canister was cracked open back in December. I think I looked at it about a few weeks ago, opened it up, and just thought it was just still in too good a shape to actually work on. But so let's keep in mind this is 5 months of filtration. Now, full disclosure, I'm also running, right, there's a second unit running on the other side. There's two of these, and there's also a marine I have a Marineland Emperor 400 bio wheel, dual bio wheel. So there's a lot of filtration on this tank. So keep that in mind when you look at this. But so we have here months, and we have here 5 months going on to 6 months of filtering, and this looks great. This is in great shape. This stuff is very old Biohome Ultimate. Very solid. Very good shape. Doing its job. You can see here, there's a little bit of moam, or what do you call that stuff? A little bit on here. Not much at all, really. So this is in really good shape. A little bit of Marine Pure. Absolutely perfect shape. Very clean. No blockage. Nothing really. Still much lighter than the Biohome, but doing its job. There's even some rings in here, some old Fluval rings, as well as some bio balls with some sponge centers, and then on the very bottom here I've got the sponges, and you can see the sponges, a little bit of pinky that you can see does have some detritus on it. That fine layer of detritus, a little bit of mold buildup there. Not bad though. And the sponges, no, that's not too bad actually. That's not bad at all. And look at that. I could just put this thing back together, let it run for another 2 or 3 months actually. Maybe just replace that pinky. Now this is the one that should be the most disgusting, right? This is the bottom course of the bottom canister. What have I got there? Next to nothing. 5 months. So the pre-filter, pre-filter is actually doing the heavy lifting here, is doing the bulk of the work. And take a look at the water inside. Take a look at the water inside of this canister. There's a little bit of detritus on the bottom around those rings that I have breaking up the water flow as suggested by the Pondguru. Otherwise, this canister could probably run another month or 2. So what that does now is it adjusts my timetable. Now granted, this has to be taken in consideration with the bioload that you have on the tank. If I was to double this bioload, of course, this would change. But with the current bioload, this tells me that I could probably run this canister 6, maybe 7 months between maintenance. That was never the case before. These things used to be disgusting when I'd open them up. Not disgusting, but certainly a lot dirtier, a lot more clogged up than what I'm seeing here. So I'm just going to rinse those sponges, put this unit right back together with some treated water, and just throw it back in. It's a 20-minute operation, and I don't use these. I don't use these for bacteria, for beneficial bacteria. So I just rinse these in tap water. I don't really care about that. They're just to break up the water flow at the bottom. You can watch Pondguru's Pimp My Filter series if you want to know more about that. But at any rate, that's what I have going on after 5 or 6 months with the use of a sponge pre-filter, and this is why I'm so high on them right now, because it just reduces having to do what canister owners hate doing, which is tearing these things apart and having to service them, and without compromising the quality of the water, and without jeopardizing the health of the fish. All you have to do is look at my fish and know that this is working. Okay? So the filter is put back together again and ready to be put back into use. This is the pre-filter. You can see it's a coarse filter, catches detritus and the fish, like food and stuff, and the fish will peck at it, and it will hold whatever it captures on the surface until it actually dissolves and then goes into the canister. This was from a Zoom ad, and you can see it has a bottom here, and so I am taking in detritus directly from the very bottom, which it's a limited amount of holes, but still, I think if I had a filter that covered this entire intake, it would be more effective. So I'm going to be replacing this coarse filter with probably one of the ones from Cory up at the Co-op, or I'll probably just DIY, do it yourself. Just buy a block of coarse sponge and just cut a hole in the top of it, and maybe not use this bottom piece at all. Just actually put this right onto the tube and use it instead of this, which is what I did on the Fluval. I just put this on the tube. I didn't
covering up the huge intake of the Fluval. So perhaps I'll do that same thing here with this SunSun. So, but for now you can see, I mean, I've got some exposed bottom here that is coming in, but this is capturing a lot of detritus. How do I know? When I go to remove it, I mean, and I rinse it out, a lot of gunk comes out of it. So it is doing its job. And of course I know because when you look inside the canister, you see very, very good conditions in there. So this is doing the bulk of the work for me, and changing the detritus into very small particles that the filter can handle very, very easily. So, and helping me maintain pristine water conditions. Actually, I just remembered that I have a piece of, I have several pieces of this porate foam from Swiss Tropicals that were sent over. What they do when they custom cut the filter pieces that you order, they send you the extra. They send what got cut off as part of yours. So I can just tuck this piece in here, and that's it. I've got an inexpensive, perfect, there you go, look at that. Man, don't you love it when you DIY stuff and it inexpensively gives you a good solution? So there you go. This intake now is even better now than it was before, and I thank you for encouraging me to make this video so I could come up with that fix. All right. All right, so there you have it. So what are your thoughts on a SunSun pre-filter? Are you using one, and how's it been going for you? But if you've had experience with the use of a pre-filter, and I know that in a previous video I talked about the entire unit, you know, putting there's a unit sold by SunSun that is a standalone unit that would work as a pre-filter, that is clear plastic that you could actually see how it starts to collect waste, and then it would sort of tell you when it's time to clean it out, and then you could fill the canister entirely with bio media. But I'm thinking now, in hindsight, you know, the less hose connections that you have, the less apparatus that you have going, the less the risk of something going wrong, the less chance of a leak, you know, things of this nature. So I'm starting to move, and those of you who have been following me for a long time know this, I'm moving really in the direction of more and more simplicity. And so I like the idea of a sponge attached to the intake, and then as opposed to maybe a separate smaller canister as a pre-filter. Just something that I've been contemplating recently, and I'll probably end up with coarse sponge intakes, you know, sponges on all the intakes, and at some point. Just a tip that somebody shared with me, a member of the Convo gang shared, put a plastic cover or a bag over the sponge intakes when you're removing them for cleaning, because they'll release a lot of the waste into the tank. The detritus that collects on these sponges over time simply is dissolved into very, very, very fine particles that then work their way into the filter. It stops the large pieces, but over time those pieces are either pecked at by fish, such as food, pieces of food, or even waste. And ultimately they dissolve and are moved into the filter. So what you need in the filter really is a layer of fine filtration. So if you have a coarse on your intake, a coarse filter on your intake, and a fine filter where the water first enters the canister, you're probably pretty good to go for everything else being media, being biomedia. And that would be all you need, because you have that first layer of mechanical filtration occurring at the entry point of the intake intake tube. So at any rate, that's it for me, and please share your thoughts below. Be sure to comment, share, subscribe, and rate, and all that good stuff. You are appreciated, and do keep tuning in. It is noticed and appreciated. Thank you.